There's no country that has more linguistic assets, but we seem to take pride in being monolingual, and we even try to amend our constitutions to make sure that we remain monolingual.
And I thought that captured the debate. He obviously has a perspective on it, but it did absolutely capture the debate as the quote about this being a Tower of Babel. What are your thoughts on sort of the issue that it raised? There are an awful lot of people out there that believe this is a Tower of Babel, that we need English.
Ling-Chi Wang and others have been visionary to think not just about language programs for Asian and Latino or people of color, and I think it's an ongoing struggle to really implement better programs, and there are challenges too with the immigrant parents that are brought up in the film that don't trust kind of different types of programs, and it's a challenge for the school district and teachers and others to really show the benefits of immersion education for the whole school district and for the country as well.
Personally, I think that there's still going to be people who only speak their native tongue. There's still going to be other countries, that don't want to adopt English as their language, and we do need the immersion education.
People have very little concern about children like Julian or our kids learning Chinese. Where it becomes complicated is with kids who don't speak English at home.
La escuela para mi hija donde aprenda más inglés. Ahorita ella va en Mission Education Center, pero es puro español, casi puro español.
英文，但係呢個社會係美國嚟嘅。我哋送仔女嚟讀中英雙語咧，係因為並唔係為了學2個半鐘頭英文係唔足夠嘅。
Parents from that community feel besieged already, and there's a sense, why are you throwing this experimental program on our family? We need the 3 R's.
I do agree with Marcia and Ken that I think the dual immersion and total immersion programs are really excellent ones that English learner parents, if they knew more about the brain research and academic research, they would be strongly supportive of it.
Do you consider this an advocacy film? And did you go into it with that idea, or with the idea to sort of present these two sides and just see what happened?
Not only is it important to have the seemingly oppositional point of view, but it's actually important to give voice to people whose viewpoint is different from that of the viewpoint expressed in the film. So it was important to us, for example, we didn't want to just have news clips of Ron Unz as the voice of the English-only movement. He would have been an interesting character, but we wanted our opposition to come out of the weft and warp of our story.
We know that this is it's a hot issue. We know it's connected to people's feelings around immigration and people's concerns about the balkanization of America and globalization, and all that stuff gets fed into it. And we were more interested in opening a window on that kind of prism of issues, so that people could have this dialogue, which is often really hard to have.
What was interesting to me when the UNZ initiative passed, it did have, he sort of conceded the idea that it was okay to teach non-native English speakers in their home language in a dual immersion program. So that the idea was that if those kids with their native language, their home language, were helping English speakers to learn a foreign language, then it was okay. If they were being taught bilingual education without those English speakers, then it wasn't okay.
I had a hard time communicating with my grandmother because of the language barrier. I mean, she can't speak 2 words of English, and I can speak maybe 10 words of Chinese. So when I see her, it's very simplistic in terms of my conversation with her. Hi, Grandma, how's it going? And, here's your grandkids, and that's about it. But I can't really talk to her about what it was like when she was young, growing up.
The idea that we couldn't communicate with our grandparents is a very foreign concept. And to watch these kids, and not just, it's not just Chinese, it's, kind of across the board, to watch them within 2 generations not be able to communicate with their grandparents, it was a bit of a gut punch.
I think it's really kind of ironic that in America, in the past, we try everything that we can possibly do through our educational process to purge the linguistic ability of the children of different language background as they enter into the school district. And then succeeded, in fact, in purging whether it be Chinese, Spanish, or French, or whatever language. And then when they get to the college level, then we spend millions in college education to try to teach some college students the same languages that we succeeded in purging out of these children. Imagine if we are able to capture these assets and retain them and then use them. You know, America is really linguistically the richest country in the world.